right. So what is going on? What is going on? I am excited tonight to share with you guys. Looks like we are live in our group here. Let's make sure that that's where we're at, that we are live where we're supposed to be. Boom. Awesome. Awesome. I'm excited. Give me 1 second, folks. I want to be able to log in and share some information. All right. So listen, I wanted to come in here as usual. You guys know every once in a while I pop in. I love to support my man, Jiz Clerk. He's doing a fantastic job, of course, in keeping this group informed, keeping the a ton of information, but just really keeping this group going and maintaining it, helping add new people to the family. So I always love to jump in and add some extra value because he's doing such a great job and it just motivates me. For those of you know, Jiz and I actually work together on a lot of different projects, and we're really excited about talking about crypto. And we're really excited about actually giving people the opportunity to learn crypto, right? And the reason that we're so excited about it currently is because really cryptocurrency offers us a unique opportunity, right? It offers us an opportunity, give me 1 second, to be able to do something that's really never been done before. And you know, this community here is primarily filled with people of African descent. It's open to everybody, but that's the primary makeup. And when you look at that community, when you look at people who have come from a community of lack, uh, a community where there's been struggle for generations, very rarely, or if ever, have we ever had the opportunity to be able to take whatever little sums of money that we could come up with and actually put that money into a project, be able to put that money into something before big banks, multinational corporations, hedge funds, before the big money is able to come in and put that money on top of whatever it is that we have. And so if you understand just that concept alone from the standpoint of crypto, that this is the first time that our money can go in before the bank's money, which naturally means that once the bank's money starts pouring in, once the hedge funds money start pouring in, once all the other money starts pouring in, what does that do to the value of our money? Then you got to understand that we are a critical time and a critical place in terms of talking about a wealth transfer in this country and a wealth transfer globally. Okay. Digital currency, crypto is here. It's not going anywhere. In fact, digital currency has been around for quite some time, not in the form of blockchain, but the idea of digital currency. You've had a credit card for a while, digital currency. Banks transfer money digitally. They don't actually take our coins and actually trade it from one bank to the other like they used to. It's a digital transfer since the 70s, right? So this money, this idea of digital currency has been happening and it's been expedited by the pandemic. Okay. So, folks, what I want you to understand is that now is the time to begin to take this seriously. Now is the time that you have to begin to educate yourself on this one particular topic and this one particular space when it comes to finances, when it comes to financial literacy, when it comes to your budgeting, when it comes to all that type of stuff. You need to take the time to really understand this topic because this topic is going to be able to set you up going forward. If we don't understand what's taking place, if we don't understand what's going on historically, if we don't understand the basic concepts, then you might not understand why this is so valuable. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. See, in my lifetime, I'm 45 years old. There's been a lot of things that have happened. There's been a lot of economic crashes. There's been a lot of different type of stuff. And I never understood what was happening. I was always intimidated by that space, even though I used to lecture at colleges and teach about economic empowerment. It was always from the standpoint of brick and mortar business. It was always from the standpoint of the mindset of the entrepreneur. It was always from the standpoint of that form of empowerment, but never the markets, because I was intimidated by them. I didn't understand it. They had always made it seem so mystical, like that it was beyond a simple comprehension, right? It was like, have you ever tried to read Graham's book, Intelligent Investor? That's not written for the everyday average person to be able to understand the concepts, right? And so it was always seen beyond at some point in time. And right now, guys, this stuff is so important for us to understand because it was beyond the scope of my understanding, beyond the scope of my literacy. It always put me in a position where I had to react, or I had to be victimized by what happened economically on the macro level because I had no understanding. Let's give you a prime example. A prime example, we all know about the real estate bubble and the crash in 2008. Most of us lived through that. Most of us were full-grown human adults at that point in time, right? And we all know what happened during that time frame. You know, we understood that the banks defaulted. We understand all of the stuff that they talk about, the distressed assets and all of the things that they talk about. We talk about some of the technical terms that they used for the different financial derivatives and all the other stuff. All that stuff, okay, simply means that what happened was that when we went through that the last time, previously before it was the dot-com bubble, just 8 years before that, then this happens, the real estate crash in 2008. What happened was, to bail out, remember too big to fail? To bail out all of those institutions, we had to print a lot of money and give out what was called stimulus checks and stimulus stuff, stimulus packages, to bail out companies, to put money in individuals' pockets, etc. The printing of that money, because whenever we print money, caused inflation. And it also caused simultaneously the value of our spending power, our purchasing power, to decline. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because most people, unless maybe in 2008 you had just started your career, right? And you were beginning to advance. But for those of us who were already in a career, we found that all of a sudden over the next decade, oftentimes we were making more money than we ever made in our lives as we progressed through our career, but our purchasing power is left. It felt like we've been broker than ever before. And it's not because of anything that we did. We did the right things, right? We went to school, we got the education, we got the job, we played in corporate America, we did good, we got raises, we advanced, we made lateral moves and we made vertical moves. We did all the stuff they tell us to do. And yet still things are tight. And it's because of that money that was printed, that money being printed causing inflation. What does that look like? Well, I live in a town in North Texas, outside of Dallas. And when I moved to this town, it was right at the 2008 period. And at that point in time, you could rent a nice 3-bedroom apartment for $700 a month. That same apartment now, 12 years later, is $1,600, $1,700, some of them even $1,900 a month for the same apartment. Now, you've got to understand that's what happened. Now, the house, when I first moved here, my grandmother's house was worth about $70,000, $70,000. And that's probably an appropriate price for that house. That same house right now could go on the market for $260,000. That's inflation, folks. That house isn't worth $270,000, $260,000, okay? But that's what happens with inflation. The apartment that was $700 is probably a $700 apartment. It's not that upgraded now, right? But that's the inflation. And so what happened is, even if you did the right things, even if you were getting a raise every year during that time, which most people weren't, because most companies were still recovering and they weren't giving out raises. Even if you were getting a raise, what happened is you were getting a raise, but you weren't getting a raise enough that doubled your income so that you could keep up with inflation. And so all of a sudden you're making more money, but you have less purchasing power. You're making more money, there's more stress on the home. You're making more money and all kinds of things are going wrong because we didn't understand the investment principles. We didn't understand what happened when they printed money. And we certainly didn't realize that they're actually doing the same things they did to cause the economy to fail the first time. In fact, they're doing it even more than they ever did it before. Now, when we put that all together, what did we just go through? We just went through one of the greatest health crises of our time, a global health crisis. We're still in the midst of it. Economies have been suffering, and the only thing that has been able to keep the economy somewhat going and chugging along is what? The printing of money. So we printed a stimulus package. Now you got to remember, back then it was one stimulus package. Right now we just printed a stimulus package in March or April, whenever that came out. We printed more money. And then it wasn't enough. As the pandemic began to continue to go on and continue to go on, and businesses began to shutter and close doors, and people began to fall off of unemployment and have no other way, it wasn't enough. So what did we just do? We printed another stimulus package, printing more money. Now, what is the talk when Biden comes in office? When Biden comes in office and now the Democrats control both the Senate, the House, and the presidency, what are they talking about doing? Another stimulus package to stimulate the economy, to get things going. You know, my man Jiz, he posted an incredible article talking about the idea of when Biden comes into office that they're going to do infrastructure and repair the roads and stuff, because America's a crumbling empire right now from the infrastructure standpoint. And he's going to go back to sort of that New Deal era kind of deal where they're gonna fix it coming out of the Great Depression. We're gonna put people back to work by helping them build roads and bridges and things of that nature. But where does that come from? Your tax dollars. Guys, what I'm trying to stress to you is right now is that you have to understand what's coming. You can see the effects of what happened from one stimulus package. What's going to happen over the next decade from 3 or 4 of them? Where is that going to put your family? And this is not you doing anything wrong. This is not even you being fiscally irresponsible. This isn't even you being the typical American who spends more than they make. This is you even trying to be responsible. And you're still going to end up on the negative side of purchasing power. You're still going to end up on the negative side of what's happening. And this is not to scare you, but it's to tell you the truth. So what has to happen now? Well, we have to increase our financial literacy. We have to increase our education and understanding of what's happening so that we can begin to now make decisions that are going to be able to multiply our money. See, no longer is the piling on theory going to work for us. No longer is putting $20 here. That's not good. We need to take ways and find ways to multiply our money. We need to find ways to start to buy assets. We need to find ways to create cash cows so that we can invest in other things. We need to be able to position ourselves to have liquidity so that when opportunity comes, when these distressed assets drop in value, we could be the ones purchasing them. We need to put ourselves in a position to win. And one of the biggest places that you can do that is in the crypto space, because cryptocurrency is at its infancy and it's already being mass adopted. Why? Because technology is undefeated. Technology advances, technology comes. There's nothing, we can't stop it. I know our old minds want to. We're the equivalent right now. Those of us who talk about cryptocurrency are the equivalent of our great grandparents who said that they didn't want to put their money in banks and so they stuffed it under their mattress. We're the equivalent of our parents' generation who said, I don't trust those ATM machines. And so they didn't want to convert themselves to ATM cards. They just wanted to continue to go into the teller because that's the way they had always done business. Cryptocurrency is here, folks. It's a technology. The technology is more efficient. The technology provides better utility. The technology provides a better opportunity for the customer. It provides a better experience. The technology is here. There's nothing that can stop the train. It's coming. And so this is the first time, though, that as the train moves, as it runs us over, this is the first time that we don't have to be run over. See, we weren't invited into the rooms. We weren't invited as part of the conversations. We didn't have any of those discussions. We weren't part of the decision-making process. We had nothing to do with any of that stuff. But now we can take our little coins. We can take our $20. I have a good friend of mine who started in crypto 6 months ago with just $20 a week out of his check, and now his portfolio is over 5 figures. Because he understood that if he just did a little and bought something here, it was going to increase in value. I have a good friend of mine who made a happy mistake because he decided that he wanted to learn how to trade a couple years ago. And when he first joined up and began to learn how to trade, he funded his account into a crypto wallet because that's how most brokers are funded, through Bitcoin. And so what happened is he had a little extra Bitcoin left over in that wallet, like 30, 40, 50 bucks, something like that. And he had just left it there. And he said to himself, he had been listening to us talk to him about, hey, listen, you need to get in on the XRP. You need to start buying XRP. Ripple is the next thing. And so finally, he saw Ripple move from like 22 cents to like 37 cents. And he was like, whoa, I need to jump in. I've been messing around. I can take my little $30 and I can go buy some Ripple. Well, guess what? He had a happy surprise when he finally opened his crypto wallet again, and his little $50 had turned into $600 of Bitcoin. Happy mistake. He was then able to take that and take a couple $100 and buy Ripple, and the very next day it went from 35 cents to 75 cents. Happy mistake. Guys, the opportunities here are amazing. The opportunities here are not just based in Bitcoin. See, the thing that makes crypto so powerful is the technology of the blockchain. It's the protocol. It's the solution that each coin provides. Each coin, so to speak, or token, so to speak, allows you to be able to participate in a company that is providing a solution that is going to be the next cutting edge wave of technology, for whether it's finances, whether it's healthcare, whether it's delivering the voter registration, whatever it may be, right? And so once you understand that, then you understand that some of the best opportunities moving forward isn't even in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be amazing, but some of your better growth opportunities are in things called altcoins. But how do you learn about it? Where do you go? Well, I'm not going to tell you where to go. I know where I've gone, okay? I know that I went and I paid for an education, and I'm not here to tell you to come pay for the education. That's not what I'm here to tell you, but I do recommend that you learn. And I do know that there's value in paying for an education, because I know when you pay for it, you take it serious. If you spend your money on it, you're going to actually study. I know that there's some value in that process. But what I want to tell you about is that you've got to learn. You've got to learn that there is things called stable coins, and that Bitcoin doesn't just go up and down, right? You've got to learn that there's these things called stable coins that provide interest rates from anywhere from 5% to a fluctuating interest rate of 20%, or an average interest rate of 12%. There's stable coins, coins that don't go up and down, coins that are specifically designed to be stable, where you could take your money and you could park it there rather than put it in your savings account, because your savings account doesn't even pay you any interest. There's wealth conversations that don't involve you having to spend $40,000 for a Bitcoin, right? So what I wanted to talk to you about, to get back to the topic, trading crypto versus buying crypto. I'm going to be doing something about this later. I definitely am, okay? But what I wanted to be able to do was have that conversation with you so that some people don't even know that this is possible. See, we all have we've all heard of the foreign exchange market. If you've been a part of any group on Facebook now, there's been Forex, scammers, Bitcoin miners, all kinds of people that hit every single group on Facebook. God forbid you mention that you want to learn about Bitcoin. There's going to be 57 Bitcoin miner scammers in your inbox instantly, right? But there's probably going to be a handful of people that actually want to share with you some information and some knowledge. Your job is to have to figure out and kind of mine through who that is and what that is. And I understand that that could be a difficult process, but it's a process that's worth your time, effort, and commitment. Because when you find the person that does know what they're talking about, and who's not trying to just take your money and who doesn't even want to touch your money, see your money, he hopes that you just make money, then that's the type of person that you want to be able to put yourself plugged into. And so what happens is there's something called trading crypto. Trading crypto. Just like you trade the euro versus the US dollar, you can actually trade Bitcoin versus the US dollar. You could trade Ethereum versus the US dollar. You could trade different coins. And what happens is you can trade that price fluctuation. And so you could take a little bit of funds, you could put that into a brokerage account, and you could begin to trade pennies. And pennies can literally convert to hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of trading, where you can now take the profits from those trades, and you can now do what? What you can do now is you can begin to take those profits and you can begin to take the profits and purchase other kinds of coins or Bitcoin or whatever it may be that you want to get into. And so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm actually going to share my screen and actually show you one of those coins or what I'm talking about trading. Okay, I want you to understand sort of trading and the trading process. Let me go ahead and see if we got here. So it did share my screen. So right here, what I have is I actually have what's called a MetaTrader 4 account. So MetaTrader 4 is linked to your broker. When you link to your broker, then what happens is you can now link your brokerage account to your MetaTrader 4 and you can begin to trade. Now over here, I have a quote section. Now what's on this quote section would normally be the different currency pairs that you could trade. I've deleted them all out. This one right here, XAU USD for your information, is actually gold. Okay. But on I'm on an iPhone, but what I could do here is I can come over here and my broker actually has what's called cryptos. So I can come down here and I click on cryptos. Look at all of these coins that I now have the opportunity to begin to trade and begin to profit from. Is that not amazing? Most people think it's just Bitcoin. So let's go ahead now. I'm going to add Bitcoin versus the US dollar. I'm going to add Bitcoin versus the US dollar, and I'm going to go back and say done. Now you'll see that Bitcoin, BTC versus the US dollar is there. I'm going to click it on advance. And now all of a sudden I have the ability to trade that currency pair. Now, what does that mean? That means I can trade it as it goes down, I can make money, and as it goes up, I can make money. So how many people right now have friends who remember 2017 when Bitcoin went to 20,000 and then fell back to 3,000? And this entire ride up, when it got to 17,000 again, right, and 20,000 again, they said, oh, no, Bitcoin, remember, it's going to fall. And then when it got to 24,000, they were like, oh, okay. And then by the time it got to 30,000, they were hitting you up in your inbox like, hey, man, can you tell me about this Bitcoin thing? And then it went to 40,000 and 42,000. And then all of a sudden it fell. It didn't fall. It's called a correction. It's a correction in the market. Nothing continues on an uptrend. Your life is not continually impulsing up. There's bad days, there's good days, there's a multitude of good days, and then there's one or two really bad days, and that's exactly what happened to Bitcoin. But what happened to most people is when it went from 42,000 to 30,000, CNN and CNBC and everybody started running things, Bitcoin lost 20% of its value today, and they scared the heck out of you. And they brought a banker on. And the banker's like, Bitcoin is not valuable. Bitcoin's not. And the banker was part of Grayscale, or he was a hedge fund manager and whatever else. And the reason he's there is because he's convincing you to sell your Bitcoin as quick as possible, because the only thing they can do is wait for you to sell it because they can't print any more Bitcoin. And so when you sell your Bitcoin, the bank, the same person who told you to sell it, buys it. The same person who told you to sell it buys it. And so all of a sudden it dropped. Went down to 29, 30,000. People are panicking. Your same friends are like, oh my God, I got in at 35. What do I do? I'm losing. What happened today, folks? Began to correct back up, began to move back up, just like it was supposed to. But you don't know that if you don't know how to trade. But guess what traders did instead of panic? They put in a sell order and they made money on the price of Bitcoin as it went down, 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 down. They cashed out, they took profit. And then they waited until they saw an engulfing candle or something that would suggest that the price was going to begin to move in an upward direction again. And then they placed a buy order. My man Jiz was yelling at us in our wealth community today. I know you think he just manages this group, but he's part of a Telegram group, a family of us. And he was like, hey, Bitcoin, buy now, buy now, buy now, yelling in the group today. And a whole bunch of people profited because Jiz understood how to read the chart. Jiz is one of the best students of our academy ever. And what he's done is he's gotten himself and positioned himself in a way in which he can understand what all of those charts that normally scare people mean. And so what happened is what? Boom, it went back up. People made money, right? And so here's what I'll show you. When you come over here, you can actually click on chart. And based on what it is or the chart that you have, look at that. This is the rise of Bitcoin just over the last couple hours, right? On the chart. On the chart. And you can go down to different time frames. You can go to daily. You can go to hourly, 4 hours. You can go to 1 hour. You can go to 30. You can go to, well, this is trading Bitcoin. This is the power of trading it, right? You can come down on the minute chart. That's a little low for me on Bitcoin, but anyway, you can see. So technically speaking, right? If I wanted to, I could come in here and I could look at the chart, read a chart, and I could hit trade, and now I can take a position. Now let's just say I hit sell, right? If I sell Bitcoin right now, you'll notice that immediately I'm in the negative. It's called the spread. That's the cost of doing business with the broker. They get their money off the top. But if price continued to go down, all of a sudden, once I clear the spread, I'm in profit. And all of a sudden, I begin to make money as a trader, okay? So again, no analysis, just press the button, said go down, okay? If we were trading and it goes up, let's just go ahead and press the up button. If we were trading and it went up, you have a spread as well, right? You notice that one is a little smaller because right now price has been moving up, but you get the point. Once it covers the spread, you're in profit, you're good to go. So I'll just leave those there, all right? So you can now make money on the fluctuation of Bitcoin by just understanding, just reading the chart, just marking it up. I don't have it marked up here. I'm just showing this as an example so that you guys can understand that you can make money while it trades. Now, I want you to understand something. The movement of Bitcoin is very simple. Every dollar represents 1 pip. Every dollar represents 1 pip. So that means that if I move $100 in profit, that means I made 100 pips. Now, I'm trading a 0.01 lot size or a penny, okay? So 100 pips would be $10, okay? If it moved 1,000 pips, my trade would have made $100. If I was trading 10 cents, right, and it moved 100 pips, I would have made $100. If it moved 1,000 pips, I would have made $1,000. If I was trading $1, y'all would retire. All right. So that's basically what it is. You guys begin to understand that little increments of money can begin to make you some profit. So let me go ahead and stop the screen share. That's what I wanted to show you with that particular aspect of trading. Okay. That's what I was trying to share with you, that particular aspect of trading. So that's trading the currency. You can make money as it goes up, as it goes down. It doesn't matter. And when you take the profits from the trading, it now gives you the ability to do other things. Then there's actually building out a crypto portfolio. There's buying and holding your crypto assets, similar to what you would do with stocks. Now, you can do it in a variety of ways. You can dollar cost average, where you basically just have a certain amount of money coming out every week. No matter what the price is, you continue to buy a certain amount every single week. You can do that, right? You can wait for opportunities to pull back. It's so funny. Y'all won't listen to your buddy, but you'll listen to a rapper. A rapper get on and say, buy Bitcoin now. The next day it drops from 42,000 to 30,000. But when your buddy was trying to tell you to buy Bitcoin at 20,000, you didn't want to listen to him. And when he said, don't buy now at 42,000, you're like, nah, but the rapper said, go ahead and buy it right now. Instead of listening to your buddy who's been looking at the charts for 2 years and says, hey, listen, a pullback's about to happen. And now your buddy is just sitting there. You bought at 42,000 and sold at 38,000 for a loss because you got spooked, and he waited for it to drop to 30,000. He just bought more, just like the bank did. Because when you understand how to trade, you think like the bank. Because with crypto, you get to become your own bank, right? So this is what's happening. This is why this is so powerful. This is why this wealth transfer is so important for you to understand. So now you have two different components. You're taking some of the disposable cash that you have now, and what you're doing is you are purchasing different altcoins, different cryptos at lower points. You're taking your money from savings, some of it, and you're putting it on stable coins that are going to give you a better interest rate because you're not getting any interest rate right now. You're doing these types of things and building out a portfolio, a wealth portfolio, while you trade the currency. While you trade the currency, okay? And once you have figured out how to do both, now you're allowing not only your crypto on everyday moves to be able to create wealth, where you can use it to be a full-time single dad. You can use it to retire from driving a bus. You can use it to do whatever it is that you want to, or you can also take some of those profits and you can now diversify them into other assets. How many of y'all would love to buy real estate? How many of y'all know that the no money downs and all that stuff is for most people a fantasy, right? Most of the time with most real estate investors, they have capital that they have to put down, that they have to deploy. And the amount of leverage and debt that they have to take on in order to earn $300 or $400 of positive cash flow is crazy compared to what you could do in the crypto space with the same amount of money and allow that money to make you some money, allow that money to progress. But the one overriding continuity, the one overriding theme that what I was talking about this whole time is that you have to educate yourself. You have to educate yourself. And I'll be honest with you guys, most of the times people ain't coming on here with a passion to educate yourself. Most of the time, people aren't maintaining a group like Jiz has for the last 6 months, putting in information, recording videos, marking up charts, doing all the stuff that he does for the group with very little interaction from the group. Very little interaction. Everybody watches in silence. Everybody consumes what it is that he's given. It doesn't even put in a comment that says, thanks, bro. That was amazing that you shared that. It's amazing. It's amazing. We all consume it. I'm guilty of it too. I look at his stuff too. I don't comment on every single post, right? But he continues to give value and value and value. And for my money, for my understanding, those are the type of people that I want to work with. Those are the type of people that I want to partner with. Those are the type of people that I want to build wealth with, because I know that their intention is in the right place. I know that their heart is in the right place. I know that what they're doing is about empowering people. And in the process, because they've learned what to do, they will empower themselves. But I love working with someone like that. So Jiz, bro, I know you'll probably watch this video. You might not be watching now, but I just want to let you know, bro, that I love you, man. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to say it right here publicly on this group, that you have grown to be one of my best friends. I'm so thankful that you're in my life, right? I'm so thankful that you take the time to help educate people. I'm so thankful that you're so selfless in what you do. And I'm appreciative to work with you. And so what I want to continue to do in sort of in service of that is continue to come into your group, continue to be able to provide value, continue to drop nuggets for people, because I share the same mission to wake people up. I share the same mission, and I think you know that right now we cannot miss this. We cannot miss this moment in time. Give me 1 second, guys. We can't miss this moment in time. We have to be present. We have to be focused. We have to do it because, as I said, there is no other chance that you're going to get to have your money in before a multinational corporation. Well, I take that back. If you invest in Bitcoin, you invest in these currencies, you invest in this stuff 5 years from now, your portfolio might be enough that you might be able to participate in a pre-IPO because you'll meet the qualifications that allow you to participate in a pre-IPO, which most of you don't meet the qualifications now. Most of us don't meet those qualifications now. Most of us don't have the net worth. Most of us don't have the trading accounts. Most of us don't have the stuff that requires us to have and the reason that they have that is because the financial services industry says that you have to have a certain knowledge of how this works. Otherwise, it's called predatory. And so it's not even that if a company wants to include you, they couldn't because you don't know what you're doing. So why not learn now? Guys, do you realize how fascinating this industry is? Do you realize that there's a crypto that was launched to tokenize the stock before it was dropped? A pre-IPO valuation of Airbnb was tokenized so that people who know how to buy crypto were able to buy a token before Airbnb was released at $69 on the first day and shot up to over $200 before it pulled back in the first day. Imagine if you were able to buy your tokens at $10 that converted to stock when the IPO happened, but you got your stock at 10 instead of 170. When it shot to 170, what does that mean for your family? Because most of you don't have enough money to buy 100 shares of $170 stock, but you might have had enough money to buy 100 shares of a $10 stock. What did that do? That's what crypto did. Crypto allowed the everyday average person, the person who never had a shot, to be able to participate in a pre-IPO market. Folks, we're talking about a powerful wealth transfer. Right now, there's a tokenization of Coinbase. Coinbase has a market cap of anywhere between 40 billion and 80 billion, depending on the day. Coinbase is going public. Coinbase is in pre-IPO right now. You can buy the token. When Coinbase comes out, that's going to be even more valuable. Right now, there's a big thing going on with Ripple. You can continue to purchase Ripple right now. Ripple just signed a huge contract in Japan with ATMs and using the process. Ripple is continuing to do everything that they said they was going to do. There's a little hiccup right now with the SEC. Most of the people are concerned, so they sold off their Ripple. Go buy some. Go buy some. Worst case scenario is that they determine that it's not a currency and that it's a stock, and you got stock in Ripple. Guys, don't let these people fool you. Educate yourself, because you know what they're doing? They're buying everything they tell you not to buy in the billions of dollars worth. So folks, I'm pretty much done. I'm excited, obviously, about this topic. I'm excited about the time to share with you. I hope you guys got some value out of this, right? I hope you guys understand. We're going to be doing a lot more so that you understand how and what's going on with crypto. We're going to do stuff on wallets. We're going to do stuff to really help bring some altcoins to life for you. We're going to be doing stuff to allow you to understand what the processes are, what the protocols are, what the white papers are. We're going to do all that kind of stuff just to give you a little bit of information, just a taste. But what I tell you right now is everything that I know and everything that I've been able to become as a trader had nothing to do with me except for my willingness to study. But it all came from a place that I was able to study from. It all came from a community that I was able to learn from. It all came from people who are far better at this than me, who opened their arms and said, hey, listen, you can be included in the conversation. If you're tired of being discluded from the conversation, whether it's race, gender, sexual orientation, religious preference, I don't care what it is, but you've been discluded from the conversation your whole life, isn't it about time you came to an inclusive community? One that wanted to see you win, wanted to see you educated, wanted to see you prevail, wanted to see you be on the right side of money, be on the side of abundance rather than lack. Isn't it about time that that happened in your life once? Once? So folks, for those of you who want that kind of information, want that kind of support, want that kind of community, make sure you reach back to Jiz, let him know. Let him know, see if you qualify to plug in with us. I'm sure you probably will, but let's just see if you qualify. Let's see if you're a good fit. Let's see if you'll be able to make it in our community. And I tell you what, it'll be the best decision you ever made. So folks, I'm excited. I appreciate your time. I hope y'all have a good one. Ain't it great?